Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Business Spotlight. Scott McMeans with Action Coach SBL. I'm here with Khaled Younis from MedAiConsult. Brilliant gentleman, has an amazing background. He's going to talk about some of the amazing, cool things that his company does and what value he brings to the marketplace. Before we get there, though, I want to make sure that Khaled gets a chance to introduce himself. So the camera and the microphone are yours. Introduce us, tell us your story, and then let's get into the conversation, okay?
Sure, my pleasure. Thank you, Scott. It's a pleasure to be here. My name
Absolutely. Glad you're on the show.
yeah. Uh, my name is Khaled Younis, and I am the CEO and founder of MedAiConsult. My background is in AI and medical imaging and healthcare technology with experience at companies like GE Healthcare, Philips Research, ICAD, and TerraRecon. I've spent years developing AI solutions for medical imaging, diagnostics, and healthcare automation. And I also contribute to global AI standards through my roles at ISO, IHE, and SIM, the Society for Imaging Informatics in Medicine. At MedAiConsult, we specialize in helping healthcare institutions as well as AI vendors, MedTech companies, integrate AI in healthcare.
Yeah,
So we can ensure that the regulatory compliance aspects of their solution is enforced. Uh, my goal is to bridge the gap between um, healthcare and AI. So there are a lot of real world healthcare applications that can be utilized. And we want to ultimately get this to the patients, to the healthcare institutions, so that we have better healthcare and more efficient healthcare systems.
fantastic. So you've been doing this for quite a while. You've come from some pretty pedigreed institutions, right? I mean, GE, Philips, these are big organizations. Now that you're on your own, you're your own little business, you connect back into that world because you know that place so well. What is it about MedAiConsult that allows you to get back into the businesses you used to work with and bridge that gap between, as you said, bridge between AI and healthcare? What is it about MedAiConsult that makes that so unique?
Yeah, this is a great question, Scott. The uh, I had, as I said, worked with uh, healthcare, um, providing companies like GE, and I like to leverage the network that I had built when I was working with big institutions like GE and Philips, to hospitals actually, and startups and regulatory bodies that are also involved in this. Uh, I've been in many countries throughout, the Middle East and North Africa, Europe, and I noticed how challenging it is to incorporate AI solutions in the diverse healthcare systems. So being there and understanding the market, as well as the difficulty of getting an idea translated into a device and getting the FDA approval for it to be sold and utilized. Uh, there are a lot of intricacies right there, and the knowledge of the person who had basically been on both sides of
Hmm.
the equations, being a researcher, and at the end of the day, also being in sales and marketing and business development, and understanding the standards and the regulatory that enables the companies to uh, develop their solutions in a way that adheres to the profiles and to the standards. Um, that is really something that I consider very unique, and that's why we provide this support at MedAiConsult.
I love the idea of taking this experience and this expertise that you have because you've been on both sides of the equation and you have this proven results oriented methodology that you're able to bridge that gap between AI and healthcare. One thing I wanted to just go back to is you said it's there are so many idiosyncrasies to making that connection work. What are or what would you say is the biggest challenge with AI going into the healthcare space? I'm in my head. I'm thinking of 1,000 different things that could be complicated. I'm curious because healthcare is very specific, right? You have to have the right words. You have to use the right algorithms. I would assume to get from point A to point B. What is it that makes that bridge so difficult?
Yeah, this is a great question, Scott. And actually, there are many aspects to the answer. If you look at the healthcare um, business, it's um, a huge,
Mhm.
system with a lot of like equipment. There are different systems. Sometimes you will have multi-hospital network of providers. And if you look at the infrastructure, and you were talking about IT connections, you want to look also about the AI adoption. You might have a good idea, but you need to make sure that clinicians at the end of the day utilize they like it,
Mhm.
because you might be surprised that some solutions, when I proposed to clinicians, they said, you know, why is AI trying to solve this problem? Because it's actually, it shouldn't be done. This has to be done by the experts, and there are so many aspects to that. So that is the obstacles. You don't have
Mhm.
the clinical adoption, and of course, if the regulatory or the payer does not um, provide reimbursement for utilizing that, then most likely it's going to be an added cost without the proven return of investment, which means that the hospital administration will not like that and will not adopt it.
Kelly, you mean to tell me that a hospital is not going to like the idea of additional costs that they can't reimburse for? I find that hard to believe. I would think they'd love that, right? So there's a lot of barriers, there's a lot of challenges that you're facing here. So as you build this business and you see yourself going from current states to desired states, what is it that you're doing to get over those barriers? How are you tackling the issue of reimbursement? How are you tackling the issue of adoption, acceptability, and accuracy to clinical detail? Like, how's that all coming together for you?
Well, this is, not an easy question, and we don't foresee a response from the payers soon.
Mm.
At MedAI Consult, we try to make sure that regulatory and reimbursement um, is taken into account when people or companies develop their AI driven diagnostics and decision support tools. Um, and we try to make sure that it fits the current actually model or reimbursement structure. We don't want to make sure that we don't want to introduce um, a new um, algorithms that might not pass that. So we will try
Sure.
to give the AI vendors some guidance on like what CBT code this can fit into, like what's the value-based care models that can be used for this solution. And we try hard to improve also the um, the look and feel and um, the um, the scope of the solution to encourage adoption and clinical validation.
Yeah.
And it's not always about the technology, but it is about a clinical trust. And um, so that's why we try to work with hospitals and MedTech companies and ensure that they are um, meeting the requirements of regulatory bodies and that their solution um, meets the standards and it's in compliance with the way, for example, the IHE, which is integrating the healthcare enterprise that I work for in the radiology section. Uh, we develop profile that gives suggestions to vendors about the proper way of producing, for example, the output of the AI model um, in a way that other systems can read. And there are also um, certain formats for um, representing the data so that it can synchronize with other systems like EHR. So not only you have to look into certain standards like DICOM, which is great for representing medical images, but you have also to look at other standards like HL7, FHIR, which is fast healthcare interoperable resources model that is being pushed by the US government as a standard for, you know, exchanging information between all the stakeholders of the whole healthcare system.
Okay. If you were to look at the priority of output or priority of what AI is going to tackle first, what would be the application in your mind, Khalid, that would be this is the first place it's actually going to be hitting, or the one that's already hit, so we can get an understanding of where are we going with AI and the healthcare connection between AI and healthcare. What's the first application that you've seen that have some really good legs underneath it?
Well, I had been working with AI in healthcare since 1995, actually.
Mhm.
And we had started at ICAD with developing a solution that can read mammograms and uh, help the radiologist look at areas where there might be some masses. You
So
know,
this is sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But you're talking about mammograms that go back to 1995 that you were using AI, if I'm understanding this right, to fill in the gaps to say if this is here, then the next logical uh, decision or point on the decision tree would be this. So you're able to assist in the imaging with AI calculations that say if this is the case, then this must be the output or the result. Is that the best way I can understand that? And that was back
yeah.
in 1995.
Yes,
So
yes,
as we work our way through it, okay, what applications are you seeing it most used today? And then what would you say is the next level or next generation where we're going to see AI really take off and kind of, I wouldn't say take over, but be easily accepted and recognized throughout all of healthcare? Because right now, as if I'm understanding this right, there is this gap between AI and healthcare. We've got mammograms from '95. Did not really put that into my picture, so thank you for that. But what's the most applications we could recognize or at least understand today, and where do you see it taking off?
yes. So, as I said, we worked with mammograms back then, where we had actually the actual film that we needed to digitize and then convert it in a way that the computers can understand, which is pixels.
Mm.
And it was good for studying microcalcification pattern that's indicative of cancer or the shape of the mass. We were trying to collect some features that represents this density and try to see if that fits in what is known about malignant masses versus benign. So that was in, as I said, 1995. And then things have improved. Of course, we have digital, and we have also other way of looking at mammograms in 3D now, which gives.
Mhm.
But uh, to answer your initial question about the fields where AI can be utilized and is being utilized, so medical imaging was the first, and of course, radiology, and that explains why the majority of the FDA approved um, medical devices that utilizes AI is in radiology
Mm.
by far. And uh, this is applied not only to mammograms, but it applies to any abnormalities. For example, at GE, we worked on a system that can detect pneumothorax from chest X-rays. And
Wow.
yes, and we can uh, work on a lot of tools that fit this category, but that's number one. Number two is the clinical documentation and administrative automation. Because, as you know, the dealing with the EHR is time consuming And the physician's time is so precious that we don't want to waste it on data entry if
Hmm.
we can have an AI who is listening in the background and uh, write down a summary of the discussion. So, and of course, we have solutions in the market that is utilizing generative AI, ChatGPT like, you know,
Okay.
agent to summarize that. And
Are you
so,
talking about the medical record? Like when the doctor would give his review of his patient and he would be able to say, here's instead of a transcriptionist, he could simply be talking either to the patient or the nurse with an AI application that would translate that into what would go into the medical chart for the patient. Okay, that's
yes,
brilliant.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
can see the translation, or I can see the opportunity for that to eliminate the distance between a patient and the physician, and the physician's ability to get to that patient in a routine fashion and be more bedside manner versus more business oriented, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And of course, we have to look at the genomics, for example. The DNA, human DNA, is now has been actually known for many years. And if you take into account the uh, information that you can capture from the human genome, then you can come up with a personalized medicine that's precision diagnosis. So even though
That's
some
amazing.
drugs might work for everyone, but different people have different side effects. So if you can identify, your own body, then that
Wow.
means that we will prescribe a medication that is specialized for you. So,
That that I think is probably one of the coolest things that I could get an understanding on AI, and that is it knows my genetics, it knows me. I just was diagnosed with something, and now it's going to assist in the diagnosis and the creation of a proper care plan to avoid any side effects or complications and give me the best path forward for health. If that is what AI can do, it's pretty impressive. How far away are we from that being a reality?
well, actually, this is ongoing right now,
It's under
and
development, right?
yeah,
Okay.
it's under but it's closer than what most people think. It's already I worked in the precision diagnostic department at Philips Research in North America, and trying to bring genomics plus drug, uh, to be
Hmm.
matching. That is something that is currently developed, and um, there are, of course, some solutions for that. Um, and there are a lot of things you can do. Not only give you the right medication, but it can also give you a prediction of how things going to improve, so that you can design based on your own nature and circumstances and body, basically, what is the best path forward.
Hmm.
So you choose your y- path for treatment. So it is,
Incredible.
you know, still it is up, good, but
Mm.
there are some challenges, of course, because we have to worry about the patient privacy. Uh,
Okay, that's a different. I wasn't thinking of HIPAA being a problem, but
yeah,
okay, because you don't want that to be outside of the close knit relationship between a physician and the patient. I get that.
yeah,
So it would have
because
to be created in a vacuum, for lack of a better word, right? Where each patient is considered its own little silo. Okay.
yeah, you need to worry about who has access to that,
Yeah.
and also the issues with security and data breaches that um, has been happening. That's one of the obstacles, and there are other obstacles. It might be good, and not only if you think about it in a bad sense, but governance and the regulatory over um, yeah,
Mhm.
FDA try regulatory to basically um, ensure that these solutions are reliable, because there have been some studies that demonstrate that even with the documentation, the scribe that we discussed, sometimes AI tends to confabulate and bring conditions that are not right there. So
Yeah,
that's why it's important to ensure that this is being properly studied before it is allowed to be used.
well, it sounds like no matter how good the computer is, we're going to need to have some oversight with human beings taking a look at it to make sure it is accurate, despite the fact that it's gone through this filter or whatever. There's got to be an oversight until the accuracy in the documentation is reliable. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes,
Okay.
this is actually why sometimes. You can have the airplane on autopilot, but if it's windy or there is a severe conditions, then you have to have the pilot take over.
100%. I get that. And here's what I think we've captured today. The gap between AI and healthcare is shorter than I was expecting. And I think the audience might, I don't want to say they're going to be shocked by it, but I would suggest that most people aren't thinking about the use of AI as they see it in their brain, being in healthcare. I think another aspect of this is the diligence that's going in based on companies like your own that are really driving the accuracy and the reliability of this technology because of your experience and expertise. This is what's actually making AI a viable solution moving forward. It's not necessarily going to be the end all be all yet, but with assistance from companies like yourself and the collaboration that you're doing in the MedTech and the hospital environment, it's going to get there. Taking advantage of what you've known and the relationships that are out there, we're getting closer and closer to it. And it's exciting to learn about. I had no idea we were this close, so that's compelling. Um, I am interested to know one last question for you. When you sit down and think, what is the direction that MedAI Consult is taking? What pathway do you see forward for your business, and how are you seeing that vision for what you have actually coming true?
Well, I see that the AI is a game changer for sure.
Mhm.
And um, at MedAI Consult, we focus on ensuring that AI remains an assistive tool, not an autonomous decision maker. And the goal is to improve um, the clinical um, efficiency, and also ensuring that the standards, or whoever is in charge of,
There you go.
you know, coming up with the definitions, for example, of AI in healthcare, which is a project that I am working on currently with ISO. Um, there is a joint technical committee,
Mhm.
one between ISO and IEC, and we are tasked with specifying the terminology for AI in healthcare. And the this is really important because we want to make sure that AI is used properly in the clinical workflow, and we want to ensure also that the hospitals use it, and it ends in the basically patients. There's nothing like when I go to show, for example, and they're demonstrating GE's, X-ray, and then I would come, and the product manager telling me, Khaled, come look at this new, like we released this work that you had worked on before, but it has to go, of course, through, the development. So being touched by how this is used by me, by my kids, is really what's driving me towards continuing helping the new AI, entrepreneurs,
Sure.
whether in Cleveland or anywhere else. And even I have collaboration in Africa and MENA region because of the number of years that I spent there,
Sure.
regional manager with Terarica.
One thing I think is really interesting, and you kind of alluded to this, your organization is very strongly set on not only setting the standards for how AI is going to be used in this new arena, but making sure it's met every time it is used. So let's set the standard. Let's make sure it gets met. And based on what we heard today, there's a lot of nuances that make this thing work. And I want to appreciate, or I want to thank you for walking us through this, because this is a different world for a lot of us. But there's a lot of good nuances here, because what we've learned is no matter what the challenge, all you do is keep moving forward to make sure that your business is viable. Keep moving forward to make sure that when there is a barrier, you're thinking through the different possible solutions and then doing what you can from a business to make it work, but also applying those same practical experiences to how to solve a problem and doing it with how AI and healthcare can be connected. I want to thank you, Khaled, for being a part of this. This was really cool, highly educational. I really appreciate that. I want to thank you. And I'll have all the information on how to get in touch with you in the description down below. We're going to head out now. Thank you very much. And next time, we'll see you all in the business spotlight.
Scott, I truly appreciate the opportunity to be here and also share the insights, and talk with you over this virtual Zoom. Hopefully, we can get together in Cleveland and share some
Absolutely.
coffee together.
It'll be my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.